This week is Parshat Shemini, and in the Parsha, the Torah teaches us the kosher animals and how to distinguish between them. It also teaches us about the birds. Now, a bird, in order to be kosher, has certain signs, but an egg from a bird, in order to be kosher, also has certain signs. These signs are, it must have both a round end and a pointy end. If an egg has two round ends, as in a turtle egg, it's not kosher. And if it has two pointy ends, as in many insect eggs, it's definitely not kosher. In addition to these two signs, it must also come from a bird that we have the Masorah, that we have the tradition that that bird is kosher. So let's have Reb Noson explain this for us. So why does an egg have to have both these attributes, the round and the pointy? It represents the attributes that we as Jews must also have. We must have a round end. We must have humility and humbleness and yieldingness. And we also must have a pointy end, a sharp end, an end where we have times where we are bold and maybe even brazen. So what does this mean? So roundness represents humility and humbleness and yielding. And those times that we should be yielding and humble are certainly when dealing with people who know more than us, who are God-fearing people, but also we should be humble in front of most people. Rebbe Nachman himself was known to be very yielding, to not push too hard. At the same time, we also have to know when to embrace this quality of azus de kedusha, holy boldness, holy chutzpah, if you will. Now, it's not all the time, but there are certain times, and those times would include when someone is trying to thwart you from following the Torah, from praying, from serving Hashem, from clinging to the tzaddikim, from following the teachings of Rebbe Nachman and the other true tzaddikim, and so on. At those times, we have to stand up and we have to say, no, this is the right way, because we are servants of Hashem and we can certainly stand up boldly in order to defend this. Now, if an egg is totally round, it may have the correct humbleness and humility, and it may yield when it should, but it may also yield when it shouldn't. It may give in to those that are trying to deflect the person from his or her spiritual path. And if an egg has two pointy ends, sure, the person may have azus de kedusha. They may be bold when it's necessary to be bold, but they also may have just plain old, flat out chutzpah when they shouldn't. And they may stand up for things that truly a Jew should not necessarily mix into or stand up for. Now, how can we know if an egg, even if it has both sides, is kosher for sure? As I mentioned, it has to have the Masorah, it has to have the tradition. So how can we know if a Jew is kosher, if that person really is a Jew who embodies what it means to be a Jew? Because, says Reb Noson, they follow the Jewish traditions, which of course would include the oral law as well as the minhagim. We can learn so much from the laws of kashrut, and I hope that you explore this parsha in depth and look further into it and look further into the enlightening teachings of the Tzaddik Emes, Rebbe Nachman, and also Reb Noson.